세러데이 쇼다운 젠지 스포츠 대 디플러스 기아.
Pick for life, but instead, the
like
priority
this.
Alistar.
Yeah, the priority Alistar, which is a pick that's been bullied in the past, but with the weak 2v2s we've seen from Guma, Keria, and just how great Alistar has been as a tier list support, it feels like the most the most safe blindable support here. And it will just
like
be the Xayah
a
Rakan.
billion miles away.
We knew this was likely, right? It's super safe into the Nefiri. And, you know, this is a very T1 draft across the board. As Tristana, I'm not sure about that.
Hey.
But this draft can be quite explosive if it can get an early lead and you can start getting the resets.
Because like explosive, and she's got the explosive charge.
And the rocket jump.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of explosive as well.
That's pretty explosive. I like that. There's also a rumble on the other side, so there's even explosiveness. This was actually one of the picks into Xayah back in the day. You know, people used to pick Tristana into it. Of course, you can, with the draw bead passive, scale a lot of range, and so you can really get out of the way of the feathers later on in the game. Berserker. Not to mention the fact that it's Pyosik on the Nefiri one more time. This is a champion that really needs to make an impact, and he's been failing to do so. See if it works as we dive under the rift.
It's necessarily a matchup that Rumble wins the way that he would have a few of his patches ago. They nerfed his Q specifically, which does hurt how much damage he can apply there. As we'll have a look here into the bottom lane.
He just plays towards the Nefiri and says, we'll accept this 2v2 if it does happen. You can see Dudu having to play very carefully here underneath this turret, though, and if they do manage to put him behind early on, this could be an absolute disaster. Ward goes in, spots out Owner immediately. He's not going to be able to clear this one out just yet. Still committing to a potential dive, though.
Yeah, Dudu, of course, needs to stack his Q. Doesn't have any stacks right now.
Oh man, this could be really problematic. Let's see how he does manage to do this, as Doran actually tanking the turret, has to flash to get out of the way, and Dudu has survived for now. But now it's going to be Ona starting this one off. Can he actually tank this effectively, as the answer is no.
Okay,
Does mean that they're going to have to put in a little bit of extra work to put him down. Teleport is on cooldown for him, though, and Doran does still have his. Might give him a little bit of control, as
he's hiding in this brush. He does have normal flash here. Faker's pretty far up in the lane.
Oh, level 6 is done here as well for Pyongyang. Does have that for a little while. Faker needs one.
He's going for it.
There's the shockwave. Just throws it down where he can. Heba Pulv in from life as Pyosik's coming on over. They get the flash out from Ona. Didn't have to use it on that top side of the map. In fact, probably could have perhaps saved his life, as there's a flash out from Pyosik as well. He's level 5. Another Pulverize comes in as Gumayusi in trouble once again. Explosive charges on in the rocket jump from Berserker, and Gumayusi in so much trouble. There's the battle dance as we've got the flash through from Pyongyang, and Pyosik takes down Guma. Headbutt to push Keria back as well. It is going completely ballistic here, and it's DNF that are getting all of the value. Looks like Pyosik gonna let his former teammates
Alistar there. They can challenge Owner. As we'll hold that thought until the replay here, as we are gonna have a bit of a contest from Owner. Yep. One grub did, of course, go over to...
As life is everywhere on this map right now. The needlework coming on in is now Doran. He throws down the equalizer, but it equals nothing, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the floor.
In this case, this pushes him away as Pyongyang is in danger.
Yeah, Empress Divide gonna throw him back as he decides to leave stage right. Faker throwing down a bunch of these Sand Soldier autos into him, but the dissonance movement speed is enough to try and get him out of there, and it does work out.
Freaks as Keria once again coming in here a little
it's all about perseverance, ladies and gentlemen, as the quickness comes down. Ona gonna get the knock up though, as Pyongyang's flashing away already. Only level 5 onto life here, as Shockwave gonna connect onto 2. Ona unable to follow up on the kill on the cow. There are some grubs that have spawned.
The entry point of this grub is going to be really hard to fight this one out as DNF.
Oh, here we go. They did manage to get it. Let's see whether T1 just make out like bandits. Try and take just that one, but instead they're looking for a team fight. Faker with his ultimate back up again. And Gumayusi this time thankfully has Featherstorm. Ona comes in. Dudu on a flank angle. Life gonna have to use that ultimate. Does do so here. As Pyosik just taking his Raptors, it looks like these grubs aren't something they're interested in right now.
Berserker is getting some plate gold here in the bottom lane, so that's a consolation prize. So keeping T1 interested does pay off in that regard, but otherwise, it felt like a big commitment to kind of showing up to a grubs fight, but not committing there. I think it was the set objective here on the blue buff.
All right, Life is just getting on in there as Pyongyang gonna get flashed on by Faker. The Shockwave does connect, and now they do manage to at least go 1-for-1. Or do they? Pyosik trying to get himself out of there, but that is Somehow, Keria surviving. I have no idea how he lived there. The rest of DNF making their way in, though, as Life once again starting this fight. Over the wall is Keria, finds the knock up there onto Dudu, who now puts down the mist. He's trying to stay alive, but it's not quite working. The needle work! Oh my god, he manages to get one as Ona goes down and Faker is on the floor, and now the rest of T1 are on the wrong side of the fight. Untargetable as Pyoshi's able to take down Keria, and now Guma with no friends left has nowhere to go.
And they save the turret.
Doran's getting the turret. I don't know whether they're going to be able to save it as he takes a lot of damage from the turret and Pungyan, as now he's going to try and cook him, and there he goes.
Oh, Pungyan, no flash in this exchange, can't get away. He thought he had top lane here, and Doran already has a ton of heat built up. Takes a lot of damage here from the turret, but once the turret is down here, he's like, all right, I win this auto fight. Sure, your autos are ramping, but mine ramp as well. And
scuffle, the kerfuffle. DNF being able to win out there. Doran was able to equalize it, grab himself a turret.
Talking about the individual dragon that they're getting on third, potentially to get that soul, but the soul itself is actually super powerful for Gwen that's going to get low and be in that big brawl and is going to be able to get some of that healing back.
Getting it off this one. Minions have ran away, and then the Rift Arrow will be taken down swiftly with the help of Pyosik. So T1 just getting a charge, trying to get some damage. They really do want to be able to break that one open as soon as possible. It's a composition that doesn't siege very well, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a lot of range. You really want to be fighting around objectives, so it's about setting up for exactly that. And speaking of setup, that's what they're doing here to Dudu, as over the wall goes Ona, and they look to just take down the turret immediately. The knockup does connect, and now Dudu's going to try and get in there. I don't know about that one, as Doran's already flashed away. Huge pulverize as the Gwen does go down, but the equalizer positioned pretty well. Buster shot gets Carrier out of there with his life, and the Featherstorm will eviscerate the Tristana. This is the kind of team fighting we want. What his coffers are looking like. T1 going to utilize that reset advantage to be able to take down this dragon. DNF not really up with the timing on that one, and with the state of the game, it makes sense. This is something that DNF are going to have to forego. So the first Chemtech Drake going to go over to T1. Going to be making their Ruinous a little bit better.
And they had enough info about where DNF were that they knew that this wasn't going to be an attempted trade on Otacon. They also know they still
Carrier has the Battle Dance. And this is, like, actually goes on with what you were talking about earlier on. And that is, we've got Ona on Xin Zhao, Faker on Azir, and Carrier on Rakan. Like, this is T1's bread and butter with their best performing players at the moment on exactly what they want to be playing. We're starting to see that DNF not really able to do much about it. His life is just going to get cooked, ladies and gentlemen. Could even just be dead right now. As Carrier goes in and Faker's able to pick that one up, but they also get Berserker as well. Just sweeps them up underneath the turret. Pungyan gets in. It's another unfortunate teleport for this Orianna, as they just have to watch as their turret...
Pyosik's not going to come over here and look for a smite, but he may look for a kill.
Yeah, he does throw his doggos forward.
But Doran is like, my flash for Otacon, you know, we know Pyosik's not nearby. You guys can press your D key on that one and take it out.
Yep, we take those. Probably what he's going to be saying as Carrier moves down towards his bottom side. I don't think he's going to be saving this turret, as Dudu's able to lock that one down. Pyosik in position. Carrier has so much red buff. That's going to be an important thing. As Life goes in, gets a pulverize, but I don't know about this one. Berserker trying to get these autos off, and they're not actually able to get onto him, as Pyosik as well, pretty happy that he can get untargetable, but he's flashing away, was lit on fire in that tiny amount of time that Carrier had available.
Guma doesn't even have to ult in this situation, and they're like, all right, well, that's it, that's Baron.
Wait, he wasn't even lit on fire, because there's a heal on this Rakan. That's just the burn.
Nowhere near it. I think this is wise.
But I mean, you can't just give everything, because then you just lose the game. Equalizer goes down, and it's T1 that are engaging. The Shockwave lands on absolutely nothing, and Dudu is now in trouble. The Gwen not feeling as powerful as she once was, and will be taken out there by Ona. And it's fight after fight after fight. T1 on top every single...
And Faker can solo the Chemtech Dragon, which he will do here with no consequences. And I mean, T1 have the whole map. They have Baron, and once was a small gold deficit. Like you said, feels so...
It is not worth fighting for. And understandably, DNF will agree with them. Does mean that now there isn't a equalizer for the next little bit of sieging. But we'll see whether T1 just try and force anyway, because Ona is so incredibly scary. Does find the wind becomes lightning onto Pungyan.
Pungyan has his ult, but he's level 14. The Faker is level 17, so I don't think they're that concerned about
DNF,
it.
I think, I mean, They didn't look like they had much of an idea in the first few fights. I don't know whether much has changed now as Pioshik deciding to dive forward. Does get the stopwatch out of Doran here. Does break his arm guard, but he's very close to his Onya's position, and then Faker just to finish it off as the equalizer goes down. Life goes in. There's a shockwave connecting onto two, but I think it's too little, and it's almost definitely too late as Ona going forward, tanking up two turrets as Life does get the pulverize onto Guma, who will eventually go down. That was actually...
Faker's had a pretty good game. He's been able to shut down a lot of the engages. Keria.
All right, Life going in. Keria is just going to say, okay. And Ona not going to be able to steal away the red buff. So Pioshik does at least get that prize for his team. Dudu also with Azonya's now completed. That is kind of cool. As Faker goes in, finds Pyongyang one more time. And I just don't think he has any way out. In fact, he does not. As Faker goes golden. And the red carpet is there. Life unable to walk down that one. That's a little too hot. Gets cooked anyway by Doran here. As now Ona goes in with a nice knock up onto Dudu. He has the miss down, but I still just don't think he's going to be immune. And there it goes. Pioshik on the fountain. The Sand Soldiers say you are dead. And T1 will dominate in the end of game number one. The DN Freaks woes continue here in the LCK.
And a big statement win here.
네, 이거 있나? 안 되지. 오케이. 트리 노점. 오리 노플이지. 오리 노. 나 오리 거리 되는데 이거.
뭐가 있다?
알리도 노플. 오리는 잡긴 했어. 나 트리 노고. 앞라인부터. 웬 누구 있다? 근데. 그러네. 그러게. 웬. 노플이야 웬.
Was definitely, for me, Faker and Ona playing out of their minds. Keria as well having just one of his phenomenal Rakan performances. These are the champions to look out for on T1, and they showed you exactly why they are to be feared. Just look.
GP was one of the ones that King would lock here.
Oh, the Malphite, that's fun.
Trundle. That's great with Jin. Unironically, I feel like it's pretty good. I don't think that's I don't think that's what he's necessarily going to lock here, but I like to see Doran flex a little bit.
Yeah, instead Doran is just going to take a leaf out of our book and lock in the Gnar. Depends on who you talk to about how the Jax Gnar matchup goes, but should be relatively even up there towards the top side and does give you a lot of teamfight power if you can get that Mega Gnar timing to work out. We know Doran's best thing is teamfighting.
Yeah.
And so him on the Gnar, he often is pretty good at making sure that Gnar bar is in the right spot.
It's hard to punish this Gnar pick with Viego. You know, there are other junglers that can be very threatening and punish a mini Gnar. Viego doesn't always quite reach with the hop available, so I feel like you feel pretty safe in the top 2v2 as well with the Pantheon there.
Whether it is going to be a victory here today, it's going to have to be in this game because T1 are on match point in this best of three. Let's see whether DN Freaks can pull themselves together here in game number 2.
To say it for the whole year, but something has to change for us to stop.
You will get a lot of practice saying it though, so at least you get really good at saying it. So there's that. Like we were talking about, some okay laning. As Gumiushi going to be able to clear up that last minion, but Berserker Pioshik going to be walking over a ward here though, as Ona does cancel that back. Ward goes in, Pioshik goes out, information gathered, and it looks like Dudu is just going to be able to shove that wave in and go for a little bit of a reset. So that's a great start to this lane for the Jax. As Pyongyang going to be spotted there by the ward Faker just put down. So he's going to be a little delayed on his reset. No harm, no foul.
It's a little scary, even though they have a lot of ward coverage. I'm like, I'm going to walk a little bit more left before I channel this recall. If Faker stopped me there, Owner might be lurking, but a lot of information will finally channel that back. Faker, full health is, here we go. Bit of an exchange again.
Yeah, Doran going to be losing some health bar, but of course he has a little bit of extra space, right? Because he does have his teleport still available. Probably shouldn't die right here.
No.
As the Empower does come through, Crush gets him out, but now the teleport back in from the Gnar is a lot.
Enemies can't hurt him when he presses a button.
Yeah, he does seem to utilize those buttons relatively well.
He should play Gwen jungle.
Throw it in here. It's a fair bit of damage onto Gumiushi, as we can see. Captive Audience going to connect there as Doran going aggressive. Does have level 6, but the wallop not going to land, and he just used the ulti on the Jax a few moments prior as Pyongyang, I think, loses out on that trade. It's the Chaos Storm going to get redirected towards the minions. Pyosik starting off these grubs, might be able to get that first one pretty comfortably. Let's see whether they can get more.
Yeah, he wants to get it without smiting, of course. The top trade going so well for
Likely jungler towards his bottom side, as he's going to have to leap strike his way over, and all right, that'll do it. He's just fine.
Nice timing on that.
Yep, I guess he just knew that he wasn't in any danger as the Ignite already down onto Gumayushi. He's going to flash. This dive is dangerous, but still able to pick it up. Life just deciding that he's going to have to sacrifice himself as Carrier gets another kill, and Berserker not going to be able to challenge him for that one. So that, I would say, ladies and gentlemen, is a disaster.
Yeah, on one hand, I get it.
Because does the Rise.
Yeah. And
in this matchup anyway, so it's just a bit of a rough one.
Not respecting, but Pyosik is going to come over here.
Yeah, there's the flash in, as I don't know about the angle on the stun. The gravity field's fantastic there as well. And Faker going to have to flash because there is a shattering strike coming on over, and Pyosik gets his second of the game.
All right, maybe it was good that Viego got the kill, you know?
Yeah. But it was because Faker walked forward.
Yeah.
And that means he's dead anyway. So DNF, setting up for these plays quite nicely. Life, of course, his position fantastic there, but T1's still going to be able to get themselves the first dragon of the game. And next one going to be a Chemtech, so no back-to-back Chemtech souls, which we like to see, as Doran's spacing there pretty nice into the Counter-Strike.
See a small lead here for Berserker. Pyosik looking for more grubs here. They have full control over this pit. Faker doesn't have his flash. I don't think he's going to come down. They're going to look for a bottom play here instead on the Dudu.
Yeah. The Gnar stun into the turret, and Dudu does manage to at least get the Counter-Strike back as he throws down the ulti. Doran will need to pick up turret aggro, but I think that was a level up for Dudu. Look at him, eating through these cookies, feeling a whole lot better, but still, he's going to get taken down. Nice little hop to get Doran out of there, and it was a good attempt. Yeah,
it was nicely played there from Dudu. Really nice flash timing. Bought a lot of time, but now they need to make something happen here top side. They do end up with 6 grubs here, but I think they want a little bit more. Turret plate gold will feel nice, but I just don't think they can actually get anything done with Carrier as well. We'll feel really happy if he's left alone in the side lane. Just ask BDD.
Deadly Flourish coming on down here as Gumayushi with a lot of damage onto Berserker, and now the curtains have been called. Let's see how the do-si-do goes here for Berserker as Solar Flare goes wide. That's a lot of ultis going in directions that they didn't really want to go, but still, that is a lot of pressure onto the DN Freaks 80 carry. Doran still realizing that things are a little bit difficult here in the 1v1 as there's the Magnetstorm. He tries to get himself out. Heartbreaker comes forward. There is the Grand Skyfall, and Dudu goes down once again. Doran is still alive, and Pyosik's on the wrong side of the map. A disastrous dive attempt here as Gumayushi down towards the bottom side, and the wallop will take down the Rel.
And unlike the last time, they don't end up finding any success with their plays. Pungyan is now also 100% dead.
Yeah, the Realm Warp, an immediate Chaos Storm interruption as Pungyan realizes that he may as well try and clear the wave. And he does do that. He is surviving for quite some time, but that's another gravity field actually in the same little skirmish. Kind of cute. See the teleport coming in from Doran, and he just wants to finish this one off, but there is no wave, so he takes a turret shot for fun, and Carrier, he's going to turn up. Solar Flare doesn't connect. The Rel is in the area, but Dudu is still going down incredibly low. Good shattering strike there just to get him out, but now Pungyan having to deal with some attention on the top side as the stun comes through, and Pyosik not going to be here in time. Just elects to get himself stunned as they take down the Rise yet again. Has a gigantic lead.
Yeah. It's such a frustrating game to play out here, as it looks like DNF will at least get this Dragon back, trade it for a 1-for-1. We'll see what the Soul is, as it's not going to be Chemtech 2 games in a row, so at least that's a thumbs up for me, but...
Yep, it's going to be a Mountain Soul.
Okay.
But Faker is going to be taking down this outer turret. I mean, this is 6 grubs for DNF.
Dragon to be tied in Drakes isn't really an issue for you. Now they have Cryo on this Rift Herald. We'll see a teleport here from Pungyan, and this may be the last stand here, the last fight for DNF.
Yep, Life is just going to move in, already down to half health as a teleport from the Jax to deliver him to the middle of this fight. It's going to be an honest 5v5 as Faker makes his way down. Boomerang value actually quite high there as the Flak Magnetstorm comes in from Life. They're going to see whether they can get the first kill in this fight. It's so important. The transformation is fantastic, but the first kill, it was T1's, and they line it up with a couple more as well. Now the curtains are being called. The Grand Starfall comes down, and Berserker, I don't think he's winning this battle against Owner, as Owner may actually get taken out here as Pungyan's over the wall, but instead he just...
in the early part of the fight. No resets for Pyosik, no angle to pop off on this Viego, and that's a Herald getting a charge here in mid, and they're looking for even more.
Yeah, Life Underneath this turret, they do manage to get the secondary charge from Shelly before she does go down, as Pungyan desperately trying to deal with the wave. He does manage to do that as Faker takes a couple of turret shots, but this gravity field...
An objective control that T1 has become world-renowned for. Pungyan.
Here's a bit of aggression as Carrier does find the Zenith Blade. Flash out, and that's good respect to be shown there, but still they get a key summoner spell from this Rise. Doran, that was a bit silly, but who cares? He can do whatever he likes here on this bottom side of the map, just keeping the pressure up. Next Dragon is coming up in a couple of seconds, but it looks like this Arakan is what T1 want to look towards. Vision is there for the DN Freaks.
Yeah, Dudu does have teleport. Pungyan has Realm Warp. And I said that last Hail Mary was
something, some form of fight, even if they don't manage to deny this. As the Shattering Strike comes down, Doran's their target, but they throw Pyoshik just towards the rest of the team. And Ona just left there to deal with this Arakan. Very happily does so because he's under no threat.
We just hold the choke point and Owner solos the objective, and there's no angle for DNF. There's just absolutely no way in. And then they take the Arakan and walk away. It was just, you know, it was not that interesting in terms of the actual fight breaking out and kills going over, but in terms of technical league play, it was about as technical as it gets by T1.
Showing on the map, and nothing that Pyoshik could do, no angle to be found there, and in fact, he's able to stop these backs with that Crush Gnar combo. Now the Starfall comes in. Pyoshik
isolated.
not going to be able to save this Rise, who had his flash removed earlier on, so that is just a very, very...
And, okay.
Owner has found life, but there is Life's kind of into that, as Berserker just going to throw a bunch of autos into... okay, does he just win this? Oh god, Owner is so scary. There is 990 gold going over to Pyoshik once again as the Deadly Flourish comes down. Carrier could be dead. The resets are starting to come in, but perhaps the curtains have now been called. Dudu going to soak one of them. Pyoshik soaks another as he heartbreaks his way out. So that's all they're going to get.
Get interested.
Yeah. Flash is back up here for Pungyan as Doran taking a lot of damage. Zenith Blade doesn't quite connect there as Carrier's the one tanking, but Pungyan's still dead. Oh dear, the wallets be heavy.
Too late. Faker pulls off 4K on the Baron, and I just don't think there's any in here.
Nope, and Pyoshik just backs away. They see the Chaos Storm, as we also see that we are indeed floating above Runeterra. Yeah, there was no real way. The Chaos Storm came down, and Pyoshik's like, I can't see in the storm, so I'm gonna have to leave. Teleport back down towards the bottom side. Gold lead in that top lane. As T1 look to siege this one out with their new Baron that they've put together. The Shattering Strike comes down once again. It's a very aggressive dive from Ona, who may actually get taken out here as Pyoshik comes in. They do manage to get the kill on the Pantheon. The resets are starting to come in as Gumayusi could be in trouble. Pyoshik is kind of scary, but it's Faker going absolute god mode here in the backline. Life going to be taken out. The Death Ray, my god, combined with the curtain call. T1 just say, yes, you do have a Viego, but unfortunately it's not enough.
He's dead now.
Through a team fight.
Yep, and T1 with this wave coming through should be able to slowly end this game. Berserker looking for the outplay.
Oh, does not get it. That's going to be another 300 over to Doran. Pungyan does manage to get that, but it is a very swift execution here by Gumayusi. And T1, 2-0 over the DN Freaks, and unfortunately, 3 games. The entire round robin, and unfortunately none of them were in the same series. As we saw, it was only what T1 allowed them to have that the DN Freaks got their hands on in this series.
Yeah, ending moments here. Pretty textbook. Unfortunately, Pyoshik is trying to look for resets in the backside while everyone else is looking for Faker. So there's a bit of a split in the fight here. Berserker's so low, he can't follow up, so Pyoshik basically has to do it on his own. I don't think this is like a coordination issue. It's just T1 knew the fight was split super easy. Faker buys time, going golden. And as they take them out, it's a really easy follow-up here as Berserker does get to have one little fun attempt on Doran's life before the Nexus does fall. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, Ona already just having a little bit of a drink as they finish off the game. As he almost chokes because Doran makes the sick play.
And Owner just chilling, having a sip.
Yeah,
you know, that's the vibes you want to see. This guy has been our best jungler, in my opinion, this season, even though T1 is in the middle of the pack right now, standings-wise, to close out the round robin with a 5-4. I do think that Owner's jungle prowess cannot be denied. I think it is, it is just, frankly, he has been the most powerful. I do think there needs to be a little bit more attention given to him in draft. A lot of teams are kind of half going after Faker and trying to then otherwise ban meta picks. But, man, if you give Owner these champions that can't be damaged while they're using certain ability. He does.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation. We are here with Owner on the side of T1, who just defeated DNF Freaks. Congratulations! Thank you. You secured a victory to wrap round 1. How do you feel?
1라운드 마지막 정규 시즌이었는데 그래도 1라운드 마지막
It was our last match of round 1 of the regular season. I'm just really relieved that we're able to close it out with a win, and we'll have to prep harder for the upcoming round. And after the defeat last match, what did the team discuss?
저희의 실수로 저희가 잘 미끄러졌다고
I
생각이
think we
들어서 저희가 이제
really slipped on our own mistakes, so I think we just had to really brush up on our basics. And that's what we tried to practice around. And in game 1, you had an amazing gameplay with Xin Zhao, making some of us go, why leave Xin Zhao open? And since Vi is a must-ban pick, excluding her, if you had to blind pick jungle, is Xin Zhao the best choice? I think he would be considered a very high tier. And I think right now in the current meta, Xin Zhao does do really well in trades, which is quite important in the current meta right now. So does Xin Zhao not really have a matchup or a counter? I feel like in the current state, Xin Zhao definitely is the best option out there. And this is actually a strictly personal question by Helios, but why don't you ever use Secret Agent Xin Zhao? You know, I've actually tried it out a few times, but it's just really not my style. Yeah, he said you guys are besties from playing Arena together. I guess not. And looking at game 2, well, Jungle Pantheon in the current state of the LCK has a very high win rate with 7 wins and 2 losses, and it's been played more often in the jungle than support. So what matchup or comp do you get the most out of this pick? I think just considering how you can pressure a lot of the side lanes with the ult, I think Pantheon is also considered pretty high tier in our opinion. So I think that's why we've been seeing a lot of him, and he has a pretty good win rate too. And Doran has reached 3,000 assists today. Would you like to go ahead and congratulate him? Yeah, Doran, congratulations. Next time, I will make sure that, you know, we share the same name owner. I can also reach 3,000 assists just like you. And in round 2, what kind of performance do you want to show? You know, there's a lot of underwhelming moments in round 1, so we just want to make sure that we have a better win to loss ratio in round 2, making sure that we perform better. You know, I'm very... So, on your YouTube channel, I saw how Kwon-nara taught you how to do the finger heart the right way. So, since you got a POM today, please share what you learned with your fans. Yeah, the 3 different finger hearts? Do you know what the 3 different ways are? Do you want me to go ahead? No, my hands are full, so I think you'll have to show us. One, two. What's the rest? Did I not do it at all? Look at the camera and do it again? Wow. So good. I love you. And lastly, I love you. Yay. Thank you so much. Give it up for Owner for that amazing performance, for that victory. And this upcoming Sunday, you will be at the Suwon Convention Center for the LCK Roadshow against KT. What mindset will you play with? No, last home ground, we had invited the opponent over and we had ended it with a loss, which was a bad memory, but I hope that we can get our revenge this time around, so we'll make sure to prep hard and put even more effort so that we can get a great result.
감사합니다.
And that's the end of the interview with owner, and back to the space. Thank you.